Hello, good morning, everybody. My name is Tommy Lee of Fanvil. Thank you very much for your time today. I want to welcome you to see the Fanvil I-Series SIP indoor stations today. And this is a brand new product. And what I want to introduce to you today is to really show you a whole brand new series which provides a great introduction and really provide some really good ideas in doing some things. But before I show you the details about the I-Series SIP indoor stations, I want to do some housekeeping. One of the things I want to advise is that in the handouts below, you should have a handout meeting of which you can download your own soft copy of this presentation. So please go ahead and go to handouts and get a soft copy for yourself. In addition to that, if you have any questions, by all means, feel free to write a question in the question box, and I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions you have at the end of this webinar. So with that said, I want to go ahead and really provide a quick overview. Fanvil in general has provided many SIP endpoints into the global marketplace. As many of you may have known, we are a large SIP endpoint provider that provides many devices that that comply with SIP. As many of you know, we have intercoms, door key phones, things that specialize in hospitality markets and business enterprises. One of the things I want to bring today is really a brand new product that we're going to bring to the marketplace, which is a great outline of things that we have that show off a display that shows indoor displays on for video. Now, one thing that's really great about this is that it really caters to a lot of multi-dwelling units or high-level apartment buildings, because along with our intercoms and displays, it actually brings many videos into the whole marketplace, of which we show a lot of different solutions. So with that said, why don't we go ahead and move forward one device and see where we go. So in all of these different shows, I'm going to go ahead and actually show how provide an overview of the product here. Following the product overview, we're going to do highlight features and kind of show you what the highlight features of all the different models are, followed by the application scenarios on where you can actually apply this technology moving forward. Okay. Now let's do the product overview. In a whole I-Series introduction, I want to introduce to you the i5X or i51, 52, 53, as well as the 56A, which is actually coming very shortly. And throughout the 3 series, which is available today, we actually have these products that's available today, followed by one large one in the morning in the upcoming season. Now, they all differ in many different ways. It's because as an alternative to using IP telephones to hang on a wall and be able to pick up the phones, what you can do now is actually reveal that you actually have something that's very pleasant in the indoor environment, because this takes up a lot less space. And what I mean by picking up a lot less space is that all of these devices that you see here can connect to all the various different SIP PBXs that you have out there in the marketplace. All of these things contain VGA quality video. And what that really means is that you really do get up to probably 30 frames per second, giving you great video quality at whatever storefront that you find. In addition to the video, you will also see that all of them have great speakers as well. So not only can you actually look at what you monitor, but you can actually provide a great microphone as well as providing a bi-directional speakers. And what you have in front of you here is that there are speed dial buttons provided to many different models. One of the big differences when you go up to 51, 52, and 53, 53 really is our top end unit that's available today, which you could also provide many different keys that you can provide SIP speed dials that you can go ahead and reach out and call up people just like you would a telephone. So it provides that level of versatility. It also gives you audio as well as a touch screen. Now, the fantastic thing about this is that it also provides you not only a touchscreen, but it also gives you a quick way to be able to access. And internally, you can dial things like other apartment buildings, or perhaps if your PBX was connected to the global internet, you could even make outside calls from either inside your house or outside of the house. It depends on how you want to configure it. Another alternative plan is this can also serve as an endpoint, even hospitality, where you can use this inside of a hospitality room as opposed to having a telephone, or in addition to your telephone. It really means a lot of different things because you can actually configure any of these keys to call up the front desk, the concierge, calling up room service for restaurants, or you could do many, many different things in how you can configure these keys. And when you look at some of these more modest models here, the display gets a little bit lower, but it provides that great level of functionality and providing you the interface that you may need, given the example of specific sizes as well as all different things. And this one is a touchscreen. All the remainder here, the 51 and the 52, are all configured through the buttons here, okay? Now, when you look at upcoming in the future, we have an i56, which is an Android-based type of model. This is sort of our flagship that's coming down in the future. And what this does is then this, you can take advantage of many of the programs that look up Android from a global standpoint and see that you can actually use this as an Android-based application. So if you have a unit where you can download Android applications, you can actually load it here and have that serve as your interface through your home, through hospitality, or many different marketplaces. I hope that addresses your question. If not, please feel free to go ahead and address the questions as you move forward. Now let's look a little bit deeper and seeing not only does it operate that, but it really does have built-in Wi-Fi. If you look at it, if you have a Wi-Fi system in your apartment or in your hotel building, you can connect to the 51 and 52 as well as the 53 all through 2.4 gigabit Wi-Fi. And then the Android adds actually 5 gigabit Wi-Fi too. And if you notice from a narrow and wideband codec, all of these units have a built-in speakerphone where you can actually communicate and talk to people from the inside of your home all the way to the outside where the camera is. And of course, it supports the standard codec as well as the wideband codec. So depending on what type of capabilities you have, it has all of these capabilities to be able to maximize the use of all of these different speakers. Now, what you have as well is a lot of different buttons that you can show as a widescreen here that you have alarm interfaces. So beyond just having a speaker capability, it could also serve as a passive alarm. What if you have a situation where all of a sudden you want to build up send out a fire alarm? You can actually set off an alarm where it actually notifies your unit, or you can actually notify whole buildings unit and have something go off that notifies a lot of different people. And I will get into some of the applications that show a little bit more in the future. In the back of all of these units, they are all PoE enabled. So if you actually have Ethernet that runs up to it, you can actually connect it and see how this is actually biased moving forward using just a standard PoE Ethernet cable connecting to an RJ45 right in the back. Now let's look at some of the different things that you can take advantage of here. Now you can use some of the standard keys. Looking at the i52 here, you can actually see that you can call up the messaging center. You know, you can have this call up maybe the front desk at a hotel, or perhaps the person watching the front lobby of your office building, or perhaps the manager. And in this case, you can actually use video monitoring. Now, one of the nice things that Fanvil has that brings to the marketplace is being able to offer video preview. So if you have a camera set up, you want to see and monitor things that where the camera is, you can actually push this button and you can actually see where that camera is pointing to and be able to see, okay, this is where the actual video is doing before you go ahead and answer the door. And obviously for the unlock key, you could use this key to perhaps set off an unlock key and have the person come in. Of course, this is the return key, and you could actually do an answer key that actually picks up a call when somebody talks to you, when someone contacts you live from the lobby. Let's go ahead and see a quick sequence as to how this actually happens. We use the example of the high-end model here, but as I mentioned earlier, using the functional preview model, this remote access unit provides a very aesthetically pleasing unit on the indoor. And what you see here is not something that's just makes your home look like an office, but it really provides a very easy looking design that's very easy to use, and as well as just providing several buttons so that almost anybody can use it. When you look at the sequence, the visitor really calls a residence with the room number. Your phone would ring, residence answers the call via whatever button you have, and using this unit, it's also a touch screen. And then the residence releases the unlock open door button just by pressing the unlock key. Then the door opens up. And the great news about this is that you can actually see who is at the door. So that, of course, increases your security level so that you're not letting in a total stranger. Okay. Now, one of the nice things is that you can also take, it's basically intuitive to operate. It really contains, in many cases, 5 straight buttons. And in the upper model cases, you can actually download more by showing a lot of the different menu keys that you have here. And so you can have outgoing call via DSS key. You can download specific other rooms. You can have your room call up other rooms, or you could even have this in a private house. So say, for example, if you have a very large villa where you wanted to contact, one room to the other, or when dinner's ready, you can contact people and have people do that. It really depends on whatever applications and where really your imagination takes you. Okay? And all this is really provides one level of ease of communication that really enhances many of the other solutions that Fanvil provides to the global marketplace. Now, this provides another access where it actually shows, where you can actually confirm the identity. Now, this actually shows a wall mount, which is really great because included with the actual display is the wall mount bracket, and that's automatically included. Included with the wall mount display, it also has the specific screws as well as the wall locking unit to be able to make one box solution to mount it to a wall. And one of the other things that you might end up seeing is that it also provides other different types of solution. Now, what I did was primarily a front gate type of scenario. You may also want to provide ease of access in, say, for example, if you happen to have a camera that's monitoring a parking lot in this case, or a supermarket, for that matter. And you can actually program this specific key to look at all the different pieces so that you can go ahead and monitor any IP-based camera and have it load here that's also VGA-based and have it show right on your display just for security reasons. Many people like to use our VGA-based XU series phones that gives you that capability of being able to download the video on the display. But if you need a much simpler design, you can actually have this fit on a wall as well. As I mentioned earlier, this also provides an alarm system. And as you could say here, you could actually have 8 alarms and input interfaces. So say, for example, if you happen to have a large campus and that you wanted to lock the doors, if someone would open it up, you can actually set off an alarm and actually have these displays show up these alarms. Now, included within the box of all of these, the indoor stations, is wires that you can hook into and actually trigger these alarms one by one. So this is highly customizable to be able to meet your specific application. So you can have these alarms go off and serve as an indoor unit or as a very aesthetically pleasing station to give you that interface while in essence matching a contemporary design in your house. Now, one of the things that's being built so far is having do not disturb. And what that really does is that, of course, many people who don't have this model at home, many people don't want to be disturbed or to be bothered by guests. you could actually press the D&D key, which gives you a very same function as do not disturb, so that while you're having a quiet dinner or perhaps maybe even a romantic evening, you don't want the people to come in and disturb you. So you can press this and actually not worry about people barging in and listening in. So this is a type of idea where it gives you the privacy that you deserve, and it's a very convenient design that people can do just by a simple push of a button. And you can also unpush that button to wake the system back up so that you can be disturbed again if you want to. Now let's go highlight some features as we move forward. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is really a great alternative from having, a phone that's hanging on a wall. Many phones that come in perhaps come in a gray-looking phone that may not always enhance the actual design of your home or perhaps your office or wherever it may place you. But you could actually have a design that hangs on a wall that's very easy to use and very simple to operate, as I mentioned here. For your convenience, it also has built-in Wi-Fi, which means that if you have Wi-Fi running throughout your building, you can actually hook this thing up and it will actually interface in well with your design as well. Because it supports G722, it also has HD audio and video as well support, giving you the best VGA optimized operating system, as well as the rich interfaces, which means that if they're all color interfaces, and depending on what model you choose, they are all basically touchscreen as well as a standard screen, depending on what type of operation you care to look at. Now, in addition to mounting a wall, you might have a front desk scenario where you don't have a wall that's basically in front of you or something that's aesthetically pleasing that could be located right in front where it's easy access. We sell an optional desk stand where you can actually mount a stand on the back of these units. Not only is it available on the Android unit, but it's also available on the i50, 152, and 53W models as well. This is served as an option. You can buy this as an accessory because this was originally designed to mount on a wall, which is also included within the box. But if you want to mount this on your desk, you will need to buy an accessory that's located right back here, giving you that ability to mount it right on your desk. And you can actually use it as an alternative phone, depending on what type of design you're looking for in your office. So many, many different features that are available right here. And again, looking at this, you can look at HD audio and video communications where you can just quickly recognize the people before you allow them to enter into your home in this case, or in your office, depending on what application you want to view. Okay, now let's talk about the easier operation experience. As we show here on the 53 and 56A that's coming up shortly, there are many different buttons that allow you a lot of different interfaces to be able to do that. We show here many different interfaces that when you press a specific dial key, you can actually show a key dial button that allows you to dial a specific extension if you want to, but it also provides you levels of keys or speed dials that you can dial your room directly to a cafeteria, the front lobby, or whatever have you, and you can speak, just like you would, in essence, a speed dial key on an actual telephone. So it really gives you that level of adoption that you can do moving forward. Now, a little bit about the Android 9.0 operating system. This is the latest operating system on all Android phones, and depending on what your application is, many of the Android solutions that exist in the marketplace require at least Android version 8 and above. And when you actually have version 9 loaded, it's good for you to operate the latest operations today, and of course, many, many years coming down the line, which of course gives you the latest Android operating system that provides you with the largest application specific that may meet your specific needs. Okay, one of the niceties about this system is that not only does it support 2.4 gig in terms of Wi-Fi speed, but it also is the one model that supports 5G. So that, not only does it support many of the legacy 2.4 gigabit Wi-Fi, this one ups the level to be able to allow you to support both 2.4 as well as the 5 gig Wi-Fi. And of course, there are pluses and minuses to using each of the differences because 2.4 gives you a much wider range from a Wi-Fi accessibility standpoint, but 5G gives you far more bandwidth, and typically the bandwidth that this thing uses is typically 10/100. So it's not really a bandwidth hungry, but it's more than sufficient, giving you that capability of being able to display all of the models that you need. Now let's just talk about some of the different rich interfaces that this thing can really do. Now looking at this model, in addition, it's also supported by the lesser models as well, like the 52 and the 53 models. You have things like being able to operate this to trigger a door sensor, a vibration sensor. You can use this almost as a door phone, because unfortunately I don't have a back level sign on this, but there's actually input-output pins that the wires are actually included. You could put in and use this to trigger specific relay-based type of I/O things that are out there. You can use this to dial an IP phone, or have this, as we showed earlier, as an emergency button, where you can actually, send displays. You can think about this type of a design shown up in an actual school environment, where you can actually display things and show, alarms when they go off in many, many different environments. So your imagination can really take you to where this thing really applies. Now let's look at the different communities. What I'll show you in the next 3 slides is really a large macro scale, scaling down to what I would call the micro scale. In the big macro scale, this really shows a lot of the different solutions. Now, this is really talking about our display endpoints here, which can show in and into these different apartments, where you can actually show and actually have this outlined in your living room. But on some of the SIP endpoints that Fanvil provides, is being able to provide a control center, X210i or the X210, giving you central management of all of these different endpoint interfaces. You can use these door access systems to provide you with card access, being able to dial up a key or to dial a specific indoor station within your apartment. Or if you have a key, you can flip your key through this access, and then you can have a log of this person entering your building moving forward. And again, these are just a partial look at some of the solutions. We have intercom solutions that go from indoors, outdoors, as well as industrial ruggedized solutions as well. And so all of these things can really work together under one SIP environment, giving you the capability to really match the endpoint that touches the human being inside the building. Looking at this, you'll actually find that you'll see within the apartment building, scaling down, you'll actually see a scenario where you actually have door access key entryways here, coupled with a central unit that manages everything. And obviously here, you can actually put in intercoms as well as the indoor stations within your unit, looking at all of the specific I/O that's viewed through the camera systems here, and all being able to manage through one whole SIP system. Now, looking at the micro level, what you might see here is you might have a very large home, or what we call a villa, where in this case, people can supplement a lot of the video cameras that have grown very big within a big residential community. And you can actually use a lot of these displays within your own home to interface with these cameras. You could have one in every single room, as it shows here, and you can have a front gate that actually shows where, before people enter your house, you could either go in with a key and be able to provide door access into your villa or your home, depending on what type of security measures you're looking for, or a nice way of being able to enhance the security of your specific project. Now, with that said, I want to basically conclude many of the different solutions that we provided today, and the introduction of the 5X solution that I wanted to show you today. So what I want to do is be able to set aside, a few minutes to see if you have any specific questions, and I will wait here. If you have any questions, feel free to put in some questions through either your chat box or through here, and I'll try and go ahead and address any questions that you might have. Okay. I have some questions that came through. Okay, some questions are coming through here. Hang on just a moment as I'm getting this thing larger. When will the I-56A become available? That schedule has not been released yet. That question was raised by Craig. I'll go ahead and once I get that, I'll go ahead and jot your name down, Craig McDonald, and I will go ahead and address the schedule for when you might have that. But it's something that we have. Once that comes out, I'll go ahead and send you a note. In the meantime, you could send us a note if you want to have us contact you back. You could send it to sales@fanvil.com, or you could send it to support@fanvil.com. In either case, we'll be more than happy to address your specific needs and come back with the questions that you have. Or you could send me, an email or whatever like that. But I'm also connected to sales, so if you do that, you'll actually get all the different regionals. How do you compare your solution to competitors? Well, quite frankly, I think many of the competitors that are out there provide many different types of solutions. I think for what we do, it meets all the specific needs. In terms of how you match with competition, you're going to have to really match things like availability, pricing, type of capabilities. And when you compare side by side, we are a large, Fanvil has been a very large endpoint provider into the marketplace, not only providing solutions for ourselves, but also providing very, very large solutions to enterprise level providers as well. And this is just another solution that's out there from a very reputable manufacturer to be able to give you these solutions so that you can be sure that will be supported for many, many, many years. Thank you very much for that. And I have one more. Are you planning to introduce a remote control for this device instead of touching the buttons across the option? When you say remote control, some of the things that we may be able to be thinking about is, I don't believe it may come from Fanvil, but there could be immediately some third-party people that actually have mobile access for these type of things as well. So as of today, Fanvil can provide the indoor access units that will give you that stand, but then yet there are probably others that might be able to provide a mobile application where those applications could be loaded on your phone. I don't have off the top of my head the person's name, and I believe here is Abraham. But what I'll do is let me go ahead and research that a little bit more and give you a more thorough answer. And then from that point, I'll go ahead and do that. That is a very popular option because you may be remote, located in a supermarket somewhere, and yet you might have a guest that comes in. How do you bring that person in, is a thing. At this point, we don't necessarily have an application, but you can actually partner with many people that provide those solutions, and you can have two companies that work together if you need a solution to be implemented tomorrow. Okay. Okay, one more question here is, can you the wallpaper, can you customize the wallpaper? That's a pretty good question. I don't know off the top of my head. I do know that on our telephones, you may be able to operate or maybe put together a wallpaper, a customized wallpaper. I won't guarantee this because this is a brand new product, but it is something that we can do on our telephones to provide you with a unique wallpaper on the background. But I can't promise you that we can do this on the i5X series because I haven't yet necessarily installed that. But it's something that's worth exploring at this point in time if it becomes a need. Now, keep in mind when you saw a lot of these i5X series, when you look at the front, there aren't any particular brands on there. So if you're interested in sort of perhaps putting your own label, that is something that we do. As I mentioned earlier, Fanvil is a very large OEM type of company that provides solutions to many different things. And these are also can be solutions that we can provide on an OEM basis as well, given the right business solutions. Okay. Another one is, since not an intercom and standard open SIP, will it work with most mobile apps like Castel, SIP. You listed a lot of the different SIP manufacturers. What I could state, though, is that all of these are SIP manufacturers, so many of the popular SIP applications that are out there, they should have no problems interfacing with many of the different SIP PBXs. When you think about it, this is a very simplified phone application, and we go through lots of resources making sure that we have full compatibility. When you think about the functionality of this indoor station, it's a very simplified phone where you actually have, speed dial phone. You can actually program to do what you do, but provides it under a very aesthetically pleasing interface so that you can actually do it. So really things that have multiple things like perhaps conferencing, all of those simplified features don't necessarily apply to this particular application. So for most SIP engines, there wouldn't be any specific challenges that you would have using this, but I would suggest maybe picking up a sample or two from one of Fanvil's distributors and being able to test it on your system. I'm sure it could probably do that. One person stated, Wi-Fi connection found cannot custom friendly is possible to select the Wi-Fi app direct from the device. Actually, Wi-Fi connecting found to be, I'm not sure I understand it, but these units do have built-in Wi-Fi giving you access to 2.4 gig. And depending on what model, the only one that supports 5 gig is actually the Android version. So you have to make sure that the Wi-Fi access point matches the specific Wi-Fi access that you actually have on your model that you're showing today. Okay. That'll be it that I have so far for now. What I can do is that by all means, if you have any questions that follow this specific applications, by all means, feel free to send your questions to sales@fanvil.com. We have a global sales force that addresses all the different regions throughout the world. And once you send it to there, I'm sure somebody will get back with you within 24 hours, okay? So again, my name is Tommy. Sorry for the earlier delay. I had some technical issues getting started, but I want to thank everybody for your time and as well as your treasured time in your busy workday. So again, thank you very much on behalf of Fanvil, and have a good day. Any questions, feel free to contact us at sales@fanvil.com, or you could just give us a call. Either way, look forward to hearing back from you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.